Diana Ross is 80 years old now, and how she lived has been sad for over 50 years. Diana Ross is an iconic figure in the world of music. Her name is linked to timeless classics and a bold sense of style. However, after more than 80 years of struggling for career success, Diana Ross tragically died. Want to know what happened? It's all in this video. In 2002, Diana Ross was in trouble with the law. At the time, she was getting help for her drug abuse at a rehabilitation center in Tucson, Arizona. While she was there, Ross got into trouble with the law when she was arrested for driving while impaired. After her arrest, Ross faced legal consequences for her actions and was later sentenced to received a 2-day jail sentence near her home in Connecticut as a result of her DUI arrest. Diana Ross, the famous American singer and actress, was born in Detroit, Michigan, on March 26, 1944. She was the second of 6 children born to Ernestine and Fred Ross Sr. Her mother had planned to name her Diane, but a mistake on the birth certificate made that name appear instead. On her birth certificate, her name was written as Diana, but her family and friends in Detroit always just called her Diana. Diana grew up in a Baptist home with her parents and siblings, who were Arthur Fred Jr., Frida, Barbara, and Wilbert, who was affectionately known as Chico. The Ross family first lived at 635 Belmont Saint in the north end of Detroit, near Smokey Robinson lived next door in Highland Park, Michigan. When Diana was 7, her mother got tuberculosis, which made her very sick. To make sure she got better, and so that the children would be safe, Diana's parents had to make the hard choice to send her and her siblings to live with their maternal grandparents, Reverend William Moten, who was the pastor of the Better Baptist Church. In Better, Alabama, Diana, her brothers and sisters, and Mrs. William Moten lived with them while her mother got better. Eventually, Diana's family moved to the working-class Brewster Douglas housing projects in Detroit, where they settled on St. Antoine Street. This was the start of Diana's amazing career as an entertainer, which began on her 14th birthday in 1958. Diana continued her education at Cass Technical High School, a prestigious 4-year college and preparatory magnet school in downtown Detroit. At the time, Diana's dreams were to become a fashion designer. To help her reach her goal, Diana took a variety of classes at C-Tech, including classes in clothing design, millinery, and the art of making hats. Diana was interested in more than just fashion design. In the evenings and on the weekends, she took modeling and cosmetology classes. It's worth noting that Smokey Robinson generously paid for her to attend these classes. Diana also took part in many of the school's extracurricular activities. Diana's first job was as a busgirl at Hudson's, a famous department store in downtown Detroit. She was the store's first African-American busgirl, which was a big deal in her early working life. To make extra money, Diana did hair for her neighbors, showing off her skills and entrepreneurial spirit. Diana Ross's academic journey at Cass Tech ended with her graduation in January 1962. This time in her life set the stage for her future success and legendary career in the entertainment industry. When she was 15, in 1958, Diana Ross started her rise to fame as a singer when she joined the Prim Mets. The Prims were the sister group to the male vocal ensemble called the Primes. A member of the Primes, Paul Williams, saw her talent and told music manager. The Primates were Diana, Milton Jenkin, Florence Ballard, Mary Wilson, and Betty McGlown, who was dating Paul Williams at the time. The Primates showed their talent when they won a talent competition in Windsor, Ontario, in 1960. Their performance caught the attention of executive and songwriter Robert Bagman, who invited them to audition for Mantown Records. Diana Ross's amazing live performances at events like Sock Hop started to get noticed. In a surprising turn of events, Diana went up to her former neighbor and rumored childhood boyfriend, William "Smokey" Robinson, to talk about auditioning for MTV. Smokey insisted that the Primates' first audition be for him, and he agreed to bring them to MTV on the condition that they let him and his group, The Miracles, hire the Primates' guitarist Marv Tarplin for an upcoming tour. This led to Tarplin's long and important time in Robinson's bands, which Diana Ross thought was a fair trade. Later, the Primates went through the M-Town audition process and performed for different M-Town executives. Berry Gordy, the founder of M-Town, remembered hearing Diana Ross sing "There Goes My Baby" and being blown away by her voice. This chance meeting stopped him in his tracks. Despite their talent, Gordy told the group to finish high school before trying to get a job with M-Town. The Primates didn't listen to this advice and started going to Motown's Hitsville, USA headquarters to show their support for M-Town. Diana Ross sang lead on one of the group's recordings for Lupine Records in 1960. During this time, Diana took on different roles within the group, such as hairstylist, makeup artist, seamstress, and costume designer. In late 1960, Barbara Martin replaced Betty McGlown, and the Primates were given the chance to record their own songs at Hitsville Studio. Many of these songs were written by Smokey Robinson, who was vice president of MTV at the time. Some of these early tracks included "Your Heart Belongs to Me" and "Amazing Guy." While they were regional hits, they didn't become national hits. In January 1961, Berry Gordy agreed to sign the group, but only if they changed their sound. Florence Ballard, a member of the Primates, reportedly chose the name Supremes because it was the only name on the list that didn't end with EDA. Diana Ross was worried that the new name might make the group sound like a male vocal group, but Gordy signed them as the Supreme Teams. On January 15, 1961. Over the years, the group went through changes. Barbara Martin left in 1962, reducing the quartet to a trio, and in 1963, Diana Ross became the lead singer. In 1964, the song "Where Did Our Love Go" became their first #1 hit, setting the stage for a long run of amazing success. In 1965, she changed her name from Diane to Diana, which was not her birth name. It was also at this time that Ross started dating MTV CEO Berry Gordy, which lasted for several years and led to the birth of Ross's daughter, eldest child, Rhonda Suzanne Silverstein, in August 1971. Interestingly, Rhonda was raised by Diana Ross's husband at the time, music executive Robert Ellis Silverstein, even though Ross knew who her real father was. When Rhonda was 13, Ross told her the truth, saying that Berry Gordy was her biological father. Before this revelation, Rhonda called Gordy Uncle BBB while she was married to Robert Ellis. Diana Ross and Silverstein had two daughters. Tracy Joy Silverstein, who later became Tracy Ellis Ross, was born in 1972, and Chudney Lane Silverstein was born in 1975. Ross and Silverstein got a divorce in 1977. In May 1970, Diana Ross started her solo career with the release of her self-titled debut album. This album was the start of a very successful solo journey, and in 1971, Diana Ross reached her. Diana Ross had her first #1 single in the UK with the ballad "I'm Still Waiting" that same year. She also starred in her first solo TV special, Diana, which also featured the Jackson 5. Diana Ross also started acting in movies, and her first movie, Lady Sings the Blues, came out in 1972. Was loosely based on the life of jazz and blues singer Billie Holiday. Although she was criticized at first for playing the part, Diana's performance in the movie was praised by critics. Jazz critic Leonard Feather said she did a great job of capturing the essence of Billie Holiday in her role in Lady Sings the Blues. Diana Ross was nominated for a Golden Globe and an Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Blues. The movie's soundtrack also did very well, reaching #1 on the Billboard 200 chart and selling 2 million copies in November 1972. Diana Ross sang When We Grow Up on the children's album Free to Be You and Me. 1973 was the year that Diana Ross had her second #1 single. In the US, her ballad Touch Maine in the Morning was a #1 hit. Later that same year, she released a duo album with fellow MTV artist Marvin Gaye called Diana and Marvin, which became a big hit around the world. She went on a lot of tours in 1973 and was the first entertainer in Japanese history to be invited to the Imperial Palace for a private audience with Empress Nagako, the wife of Emperor Hirohito. In April 1974, Diana Ross co-hosted the Academy Awards, making her the first African-American person to do so. Diana Ross was the first woman to co-host The Tonight Show with John Huston, Burt Reynolds, and David Niven. In 1976, she had her fourth solo #1 hit, Love Hangover, a song that went from being a sensual, dramatic ballad to an upbeat disco tune. That same year, she started her very successful An Evening with Diana Ross tour, which led to a 2-week run at Broadway's Palace Theater and an Emmy-nominated TV special with the same name. Diana Ross played famous cabaret singer Josephine Baker, blues singers Bessie Smith, and Ethel Waters in a scene that included special effects makeup by Stan Winston. For her outstanding performance, Diana Ross also received a special Tony Award. Diana Ross had her biggest success in 1980, when her album Diana came out, featuring hits like I'm Coming Out and Upside Down. These songs became chart toppers and cemented her popularity with a new generation of dance fans. People also heard her duet ballad Endless Love with Lionel Richie that same year, which became her sixth and final #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100. During this time, Diana Ross dated Gene Simmons, who was the bassist and co-lead singer of the band Kiss. They were together until 1983, and Simmons suggested they start dating after being friends with Cher in the past. Simmons later said that he fell in love with Ross while he was still dating Cher, which ended Ross and Cher's friendship. In 1985, Ross met her second husband Arenas Jr., a Norwegian shipping magnate, and the two got married in 1986. While they were married, Diana Ross became the stepmother of Aaron Ninnis's 3 older children, including folk singer Leona Nas and Katinka Christopher. The couple also had 2 sons together, Ross Aaron Evanola, who were born in 1987 and 1988, but they split up. There were rumors that Nies had fathered a child with another woman in Norway, which led to the end of their marriage in 2000. Ross still has close ties with her 3 ex-stepchildren and considers Ness to be the love of her life. Diana Ross has been blessed with a loving family that has grown over the years. She now has 7 grandchildren. Her daughter, Rhonda, is the mother of her grandson, Rafe Hook, who was born in 2009. In 1980, Diana Ross started talks to leave her longtime record label Town after more than 2 decades. After decades of working with Town, she was given a $250,000 severance package. RCA Records made Ross an amazing offer, a $20 million, 7-year recording contract that gave her full production control over her albums. Before signing with RCA, Ross reportedly asked Berry Gordy, the head of Town, if he could match RCA's offer, but Gordy said he couldn't. As a result, Diana Ross signed with RCA on May 20, 1981, in what became one of the most expensive recording deals ever. Ross released her first album under RCA in October 1981. It was called Why Do Fools Fall in Love, and it was a commercial success, selling over 1 million copies. It had hit singles like her version of the famous song Why Do Fools Fall in Love and Mirror following her. Ross moved to RCA and started her own production company, Amide Productions, Diana spelled backwards, as well as investing in real estate. She also continued to tour widely in the US and abroad, and on May 6, 1982, Diana Ross was given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Walk of Fame. After the success of Why Do Fools Fall in Love, Diana Ross released Silk Electric, an album with the hit single Muscles, which was written and produced by Michael Jackson. The song was another top 10 hit for Ross and earned her a Grammy nomination. The album went gold in 1983, 40 hit singles, but the album didn't have any more hits and didn't go gold. In 1984, Diana Ross released the album Swept Away, which included the duet All of You with Julio Iglesias. The single Missing You, which she wrote as a tribute to Marvin Gaye, also made it to #1 in many countries. Swept Away went platinum. In 1985, Ross released the album Eaten Alive, which was produced by Barry Gibb of the Bluegrass Boys, had a #1 single called Chain Reaction in the UK and other countries. The title track, which was a collaboration with Michael Jackson and Barry Gibb, also did well, and the music videos for both songs helped them become famous. In 1985, Diana Ross was on the charity single We Are the World, which sold over 20 million copies around the world. In 1986, she hosted the 13th Annual American Music Awards and then the 14th Annual. As part of Essence magazine's 50th anniversary celebrations, Diana Ross and her daughter Tracy Ellis Ross were on the cover of the magazine the following year, in May 2004. In December 2004, Ross performed a tribute to Stevie Wonder at the Billboard Music Awards Century Award. In January 2005, Ross took part in the Tsunami Aid, a Concert of Hope TV concert to raise money for the victims of the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake. Ross released her MAC Icon makeup line as part of the beauty company's Icon series in 2005. That same year, she sang with Rod Stewart on his album, Thanks for the Memory, The Great American Songbook Volume 4. The song was also released as a single. Ross also worked with Westlife on a cover of her 1991 hit When You Tell Me That You Love Maine, which was a big hit, going to #2 on the UK singles chart and #1 in Ireland in 2005. Diana Ross was a guest at Oprah Winfrey's Legends Ball Weekend, which celebrated 25 African-American artists. The weekend was later shown as a 1-hour show on ABC. In March 2006, Ross's televised Central Park concerts, called for One and All, were named the TV Land Awards Viewers' Choice for the Best Music Moment on TV. In June 2006, Universal released Ross's Shoulder 1972 Blue album, which later that year peaked at #2 on Billboard's Top Jazz Albums chart. I Love You was her first studio album in years, and it did well, peaking at #32 on the Billboard Hot 200 Albums chart and #16 on the Billboard Top Art and Albums chart. To promote I Love You, Ross went on a world tour in 2007. That same year, she received the BET Awards Lifetime Achievement Award and was honored at the Kennedy Center Honors on August 28, 2008. Ross performed at the opening of the U.S. Open tennis tournament in honor of Billie Jean King, and she was the main act at the 2008 Nobel Peace Prize concert in Oslo, Norway, in October 2009. In 2010, Diana Ross went on her first headlining tour in 3 years. It was called the More Today Than Yesterday The Greatest Hits Tour, and it was in honor of her late friend Michael Jackson. The tour got good reviews across the country in 2011. In February 2012, Diana Ross was inducted into the Michigan Rock and Roll Legends Hall of Fame. That same year, she also received her first Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement and announced the nominees for Album of the Year. In May, a DVD of her performances at the Central Park Concert for One and All was released. Later, in December 2012, she performed at the White House-hosted Christmas in Washington concert, which was shown every year on TNT. In 2013, Ross finished a tour in South America and another in the United States. On July 3, 2014, she received the Ella Fitzgerald Award for her contribution to contemporary jazz vocals at the Montreal International Jazz Festival on November 20, 2014. In 2015, she gave Taylor Swift the Dick Clark Award for Excellence at the American Music Awards. Ross was in the music video for her son Evan Ross's song How to Live Alone. In April, she started a short residency at the Venetian in Las Vegas called The Essential Diana Ross Some Memories Never Fail F. The album Diana Ross Sings Songs from the Wiz was recorded in 1978 and released by Town Universal on November 27, 2015. It included Ross's versions of songs from the movie version of the musical The Wiz, in which she starred with Michael Jackson, Nippy Russell, Ted Ross, Richard Pryor, and Lena Horne. In February 2016, Ross resumed her Name of Love tour, which had started in November 2013. On November 22, 2016, President Obama gave Diana Ross the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In December 2016, Billboard magazine ranked her as the 50th most successful dance club artist of all time. On June 30, 2017, Ross headlined the Essence Festival in New Orleans, with her daughter Rhonda Ross Kendrick performing as the opening act. On November 19, 2017, Ross received the American Music Awards Lifetime Achievement Award and performed some of her hits. At the end of her show, she sang Ain't No Mountain High Enough and brought all of her grandchildren on stage. Rhonda Ross Kendrick's grandson R. Henoch Emmanuel Kendrick did a dance that got everyone's attention. Diana Ross's children, their spouses, and her first ex-husband also joined her on stage. Robert Ellis Smokey Robinson and Town founder Berry Gordy. In December 2017, Ross went on the Home Shopping Network to promote her first perfume, Diamond Diana. The perfume sold out in hours, and a CD of her music was released to go with it. It went to number 6 on the Billboard R&B albums chart and number 5 on the top album sales chart. The CD's first single, Isn't No Mountain High Enough 2017 remixed by Eric Sir, was released at the same time. Ross started a new mini residency at Wynn Las Vegas on February 8, 2018. She continued to have success in the dance music world, with I'm Coming Out Upside Down 2018 becoming a #1 hit on Billboard's Top Dance chart on August 4, 2018. She also performed at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 2018. On February 10, 2019, Billboard magazine ranked Diana Ross as the 3rd most successful dance club artist of all time. Ross was honored by the Recording Academy at the 61st Grammy Awards in 2019. She performed The Best Years of My Life and Reach Out and Touch Someone's Hand. Her song The Boss was remixed by Eric Cooper and reached #1 on Billboard's Top Dance chart on April 13, 2019. In October 2019, it was announced that Ross would play the Sunday Legends slot on the Pyramid Stage at Glastonbury for the festival's 50th anniversary, but the festival was canceled because of the COVID-19 virus. Ross confirmed on November 10, 2021, that she would play the Legends slot at the 2022 festival in May 2020. In July 2020, Diana Ross released Supertonic Mixes, a collection of 9 of her greatest hits remixed by Eric Cooper. The remixes gave these iconic tracks new life, appealing to a new generation of fans. In May 2022, Ross released the single Turn Up the Sunshine, a collaboration with the psychedelic pop band This song by Tame Impala was the first single from the original soundtrack album for the movie Minions: The Rise of Gru. The album itself had new versions of classic 1970s hits by artists like Brittany Howard St. Vincent Here and others, with Turn Up the Sunshine being the only modern addition. On June 4th, 2022, Diana Ross was the main act at the Platinum Party at the Palace to celebrate in honor of the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II. Diana Ross continued to amaze audiences on June 10th, 2022, when she began the UK leg of her Thank You tour at Cardiff Castle. On June 26, 2022, she wowed fans with her timeless performance at the Pyramid Stage at Glastonbury Festival. In June 2023, Diana Ross started her Music Legacy Tour in the US, which celebrated her biggest hits. This tour gave fans the chance to experience her timeless music live, reaffirming her status as a legend. Ross is a long-lasting musical icon with a huge fan base. In May 2023, it was announced that she would perform at London's Royal Albert Hall on October 14th and 15th, 2023, adding to her already impressive list of performances. Ross has had a huge impact on many artists, including Michael Jackson, Beyoncé, Madonna, Jade Thirlwall, Questlove Lay, and the Ting Tings. Her career and life have also inspired many others. Diana Ross's life and journey were used as inspiration for the character of Dina Jones in both the play and the movie version of Dreamgirls. Her influence can be seen on Broadway in the musical Town, which opened in 2013 and tells the story of Berry Gordy's work with Town Records and his relationship with Diana Ross. Several actresses, including Valencia Kay, played Ross in the production. Lucy St. Louis Ross was also played by Candace Marie Woods, and Dark Andrew Tucker in the play Isn't Too Proud. Ross was a member of the Supremes and a solo artist. His songs, such as Stop in the Name of Love and You Can't Hurry Love, are among the 500 songs that helped shape rock and roll. The Supremes were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Diana Ross was inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 1998 and received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1994. In 2014, Rolling Stone ranked the Supremes as one of the 100 greatest artists of all time. In 1976, Billboard magazine named Diana Ross the Female Entertainer of the Century. She is one of the few recording artists to have 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one as a solo artist and the other as a member of the Supremes. In 1986, Diana Ross Park was named after her. A groundbreaking opening ceremony and an honor in Central Park, New York, for Ross's contributions. Ross's influence also includes her role in introducing the Jackson 5 to the public, which led to the album Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5. Although there were misunderstandings about how she discovered the Jackson 5, her role as their discoverer became part of Motown's marketing. As part of her marketing plan, she stayed close with Michael Jackson and was like a mother to him. To honor her, Kaufman Azor Studios named Studio 4 in Astoria, Queens, the DNA Ross building in 1985. Her work on the show helped bring the studio back to fame. In 2006, Oprah Winfrey hosted a leggings ball honoring DM Ross and 24 other African American women for their contributions to art, entertainment, and civil rights. Diana Ross was named one of the 5 Mighty Pops. Diana Ross was one of the biggest music stars of the 1960s, along with Dusty Springfield, Aretha Franklin, Martha Reeves, and Dionne Warwick. In 2023, Rolling Stone named her the 87th greatest singer of all time, confirming her lasting impact on the music world. What do you think about Diana Ross's life and career? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.